If you have ever been made to feel like you're too loud, too ambitious, too energetic, or simply too much, this episode is just for you. Hi, I'm Val. I'm a psychology student, a self love and confidence advocate, and your new internet big sister. Welcome to the Beautiful You podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about what it truly means to be too much because I can count the amount of times that me or my friends have been told that we're too much, too loud, too this, too that. I am here as your older internet sister to remind you of your worth and explore what being told that you're too much truly means. Today, we're going to be diving into why people tell us this thing in the first place, how to reframe it into something positive, and how to transform this label into your superpower. Chapter 1. Am I too much? The thing about being too much is that I don't think that's a reality. Society just likes to keep people small, especially confident women small. They're very intimidating by the concept that a woman knows what she wants, knows her worth, and is out there in the world living like that. Making her own choices, being loud, being bold. Society doesn't like that because for many, many years we have been told that women have to be submissive, women have to listen to everyone else, put everyone in front of them, people please, and people don't like it when women don't do that anymore. When they choose themselves, when they choose to be the person they love the most in the world, people feel really uncomfortable because it goes against everything everyone has been taught to believe. Confidence in women can sometimes be mistaken as being rude or arrogant, again, because people are not used to it. So when you say no to someone, people might think that you're being mean, even though you have all the right to say no. And when you're being loud, when you're being yourself, when you're feeling good about yourself, you like what you're wearing, you like how you're acting, people are like, oh, she's too much. She really thinks she's all that. And it's not about you being too much, it's about them feeling insecure that they don't feel the way you do. That ties back into why this triggers people. Some people feel very insecure about themselves. Some women have been taught that they have to be submissive, that they always have to say yes, that they always have to be there for others. And seeing another person go against every single stereotype, being super bold and loud about what they believe in, and living their life really according to their own rules and not letting anyone else dictate how they're living, it triggers something in them because they kind of wish they were you. Part of them is like, dang, like I see her and she's up here and I feel like I'm down here. So I need to say something so that I can level the stage. So they just start saying that you're too much, that you think you're all that you're too loud, that you're too this, too that. When it's not really a reality, it's more about how they perceive you because you're triggering fear inside of them. They believe they're not living a life just as full as you are. And maybe they're right, maybe they're not. Because instead of working on themselves to get to where you have worked to get to, they're just projecting onto you and refusing to face their own fears. I think Taylor Swift has a very good point when she mentioned in an interview there's different vocabulary for men and women. Taylor Swift mentioned that when men are called strategic, women are called calculated. When men react, women can only overreact. And I think that's very true because people tend to perceive it differently when women do the same thing as men. Because men tend to make the hard decisions, to choose what's right for them and their family instead of what's right for everyone sometimes. I'm not saying every man, but like they're allowed to make these hard decisions, these positions of power that can make those decisions, right? And when women try and do that, it's like, oh, she thinks she's too much, she thinks she can rule everyone else, and it's not perceived in a good light. And I think that's partly why these projections are so common and why people are told that they're too much so often, because we don't perceive it as something that should happen when women really have the capacity to be in power and in control and to put themselves and people they love first, for sure. If we want to get into the psychology behind it, being told that you're too much really is people telling you that you don't fit the mold they're expecting you to fit into. They have decided because you're a girl that you have to do certain things, act a certain way. Your energy has to radiate in a way that's comfortable for them. And when you refuse to fit into this mold that they have set for you, because you might have different goals, different dreams, a different personality than what they want from you, oh, they just refer to you as too much because it's harder to face their own fears or to realize that that is something that is normal an option available for women, because we don't have to be quiet, we don't have to be submissive, we can lead, we can do all these things. And instead of facing all of that, they're just like, oh, you're too much. So really think about it. It has literally nothing to do with you. It's none of your business, and you shouldn't waste your time thinking about what other people are thinking of you and if they're calling you too much or not, because it's about their perception. It's about their life. It's about what they're feeling, not about how you act, how you live your life, and the person you are. So the truth is, and I'm going to hold your hand while I tell you this, is that you are too much. You are. And if I'm being completely honest, sometimes you're going to be too much for some people and too little for others. But that doesn't matter. It matters whether you think you're enough for yourself. Because insecure people might think that you're too much, or people who have a very different personality from you. Maybe they're still confident, but they're not loud. They might think you're too much. But then other people who are louder than you might think that you're too little. But as long as you're happy with the person you're becoming, the person you are, who you want to be, that's the most important part. Because you shouldn't be making these changes for other people. They should be for you and for you to live your happiest life. The thing about life is that we spend way too much time wondering what people will say about us, if they'll accept us, if we fit in. But the truth is that if you decide to live your life as the most authentic version of yourself, the truest, rawest version of who you are, the people who are meant for you will find you. And you will never have to feel like you're too much or too little for these people. But you have to face your fears, you have to face who you truly are and decide to ignore all the noise around you telling you that you are too much. Chapter number 2, changing your mindset. So now that we've discussed that really people telling you that you're too much is really not about you, I want you to take it as a compliment, because that means you're doing something right. If your goal is to live your life as every single person who has come before you, have the same job as the people who are telling you you're too much, live their same life, have the same goals, and they're telling you you're too much, then you should be worried. But if you have dreams that feel huge to you and enormous goals and very big hopes for the future, and people are telling you you're too much, that means you're doing something right. Because you're not like everybody else. You're following your own path. And when people telling you that you're too much, that should be reassurance that you're not fitting into this mold that society has, and you're not living the typical life that everyone around you has. You're creating your own path, your own version, and people tend to react differently to it because they're not used to a woman wanting this, or they're not used to the path that you're taking. Maybe you're paving it for the first time, and of course you're going to meet resistance if it's new. I actually want you to play into this narrative. I think that most of the times we tend to punish ourselves for the things that are different about us. But really, when we lean into them, when we accept that those parts of us are different from the people around us and that they're also beautiful, I feel like that's when we truly flourish. A really great example that comes to mind when I'm thinking about this is Tate McRae. She is a dancer and a singer, right? She's always loved to dance, she's always loved to sing, but literal labels told her that she could be either or. She couldn't choose. So when she was singing, she couldn't dance. And then she always felt like she had to choose one side of her personality and her life instead of having both. But once they allowed her to show like that unique path of her, that she can be a singer and a dancer all while being a performer, that's when she really flourished. And now her tours are incredible with incredible dance routines. People show up and are really shocked by the production that she puts up, because she's very talented. And all because she leaned into that thing that made her different from everybody else. Another example is Lady Gaga. She was bullied in college. You know, she was told that she was never going to be famous. She was too weird, too that. And now that she's leaned into that kind of weirder side about her, that's what's made her such a big pop star. She's not like every other singer that we see. She has this edgy style and personality, and she shows it, and she's not afraid to show it, which is really what makes her stand out from everybody else. So you're never gonna live a grand life or a different life and be different from the people around you if you want to blend into them. If you want a path that is different from people you see around you, you have to stand out. There's no other way, because you have to be different. You have to be a different person in order to get to a different future than everybody else. A key thing, if you want to stop seeking approval from other people and really lean into your uniqueness and your too much, I want you to really get in touch with yourself, get to know yourself. And I know it sounds a bit ridiculous when someone says it, like, how could I not know myself? I am me. But at the same time, do you know your deepest fear? Do you know your greatest dream? Do you know how to get to your greatest dream? Do you feel comfortable with the clothes that you wear every day? Or do you think your style could be different? Do you feel like you give yourself enough rest? Do you think you push yourself hard enough to achieve the things you want to achieve? Every single one of these questions, no one can give you the answer to but yourself. So I really want you to get to know yourself on every level. I want you to journal. I want you to just think throughout your day. I want you to find your style and grow with it no matter what other people say. I go to school dressed literally this formal a lot of the time. At first, it felt uncomfortable because it was like, what are people going to think? I'm literally 17 and I'm dressing so formal. People don't usually do this. And I was a little nervous, but then I closed my eyes and I thought, who am I doing this for? For me or for them? Do I feel really great in these clothes or would I prefer going back to my old style? And I realized that I really like dressing like this, no matter what other people think. That's how you get to doing it for yourself. Just think about it. Most of the people you know right now, you might not know in a few years. Why are you placing such importance in other people's opinions when the person you have to hang out with all the time is yourself? Because sometimes we just think that people are thinking about us way more than they actually are. And we start to put down the importance of our own thoughts and our own opinions when really we have to be our best friends. Because if we are our own best friends, we're going to support ourselves and get us to follow through on our goals. Otherwise, you can't get there. So, really take a second every time you're feeling like this and think, who am I doing this for? Them or me? And the future version of me and the past version of me. Because I'm sure the younger version of yourself will be so proud of where you are right now. And the future version of yourself is going to be really thankful that you're choosing to do things for yourself instead of for everyone else. Chapter 3: Shifts to become the best and most extra version of yourself. Every day that you wake up, I want you to imagine what your dream self would do. And I know this is an exercise that I speak about often, but I really think it puts you in the mindset of your future self, because that dream self is going to happen if you think this way. And you're going to ask yourself, what am I going to wear today? How am I going to act? And every time you encounter a situation where you feel like you're too much, like maybe some girls are laughing at you because of what you're wearing, or maybe someone tells you like, geez, relax, you're being over dramatic. I want you to think, am I? Am I being too much? Am I being over dramatic? Or am I being me? Or am I being in power? Or am I allowed to feel emotions because I'm human? I really want you to think and change your thought process. The thing about changing your mindset is that you have to do it every day. That is why most people don't do it, because they're too lazy to stop and think and kind of ruminate a little every time they encounter a situation that they want to change their reaction to. It can be pretty intimidating, just like, oh, now I have to think about this, now I have to think about that, take one more second. But at the same time, what price do you want to pay? Do you want to pay the price of taking that extra second, thinking about how you want to react? Or do you want to pay the cost of keep living your life for other people instead of for what makes you happy and feeling bad when people think that you're too much? Really, it's your choice. I'm just here giving you the tools to make that choice. I also want you to celebrate the smallest little wins. Sometimes we are too focused on chasing the next goal that we forget to celebrate the things that we have now. When you're trying to reach a specific goal, if you just skip by the small stuff, you're never going to feel content with yourself. You're never going to feel that joy. So I want you, even if it's just the smallest thing, like I went to the gym today, I'm gonna celebrate by playing, music and dancing around my room. Literally, I finished all the assignments that I had to do this week. I'm gonna go and hang out with my friends. I really want you to celebrate every single little win, because then you're gonna realize that you're not too much. You're just enough. You're gonna realize how amazing you are, all the goals that you're chasing, that they're awesome. And you're the only person that could be on the path that you're on right now. I want you to realize your uniqueness, because there's many, many people in the world. But you come from a specific background, from a specific story, with specific experiences that allow you to be you and to bring the value that you do into the world. And before you think that you add no value into people's lives, because I know some of you might think that, you do. Your presence, your smile, the way you present yourself to the world, it brings people joy. It does. Okay? And while some people might think that you're too much, others think you're just enough. And they look up to you and they love you. So I want you to realize your worth, your value in this world, and that you're amazing literally by celebrating little things. And it seems like such a small change, but it really changes your perspective on what you're doing. Okay, this one is one of my favorites. The people you surround yourself with are really important, especially because your brain is naturally comparing you to other people. So if you are a great student, for example, and you're always studying and you feel like you're always doing the most, and you surround yourself with people who always procrastinate, never do their work, of course you're gonna feel like you're too much for being stressed for your test and being studying all the time. Of course you're gonna feel like you're too much because all you have around you is the complete opposite of what you are, right? So I want you to hang out with other too much people, other people who also work hard for school and academics, who will also study weeks in advance. I want you to do that. And this applies to every single place in life. If you feel like you're too much, hang out with other too much people, because then you're going to realize that for them, what you think is too much about you, for them it's normal. For them is the norm. It's fine. And you're going to realize that yes, you are too much for other people, too little for others, but there are some that are going to think the recipe of you, all the little parts, are just the right measure. They're perfect. So surround yourself with people that make you feel like you're enough and that inspire you. I think that's really important, because if you are a girly, if you're watching this, I know you're a girly with big dreams and big goals. So I want you to surround with people who make them feel possible, because they also have big dreams and big goals and are not constantly undermining the value of your goals because they're living in the moment or they don't have big goals. Hang out with other too much people is really one of the best things you can do for yourself. Going back to changing our thought process, I want you to change how you talk to yourself. Because what you say to yourself, your brain internalizes it. Your identity is who you think you are. And your brain always works to keep you in line with that. So if you keep saying, for example, that you want to study hard, but you're not an academic person, your brain is literally not going to let you study hard because you believe you're not an academic person, and your brain is working to fulfill your identity. I want you to start changing how you talk to yourself so you don't internalize these thoughts, because thoughts and words might feel like they're not important, like they're not powerful at all, but really they're dictating your life. So every time you think something like, oh, I'm so dramatic right now, or like, I don't know why I'm feeling like this about it, just think, I'm passionate. I'm really passionate about it. Yes, it affects me, but I'm doing something about it. I'm so extra. I'm expressive. I'm unique. I love myself. Those types of thoughts are going to lead you to a better and happier version of yourself. Because I've seen it with myself and I've seen it with some of my friends. Once you truly start realizing how wonderful you are and telling yourself that, then life just becomes easier to bear. I'm not saying that life's not going to be hard, because life has a way of throwing curveballs at you, but you know you've got yourself. You're going to know that no matter what, you're not going to start telling yourself these negative things in your brain. You know, you're going to be able to take it and to handle it with patience and to use your unique traits to go about life. I'm going to die on this hill and I'm going to keep saying it every time that I can. I need you to start journaling. I need you to do gratitude journaling specifically. And I want you, when you start, to start writing one thing per day that you're grateful about you, and two things in life that you're grateful about. Because this way, you're going to start appreciating yourself, what you do for others, what you do for your goals and for your future self. And you're also going to appreciate what you have right now. Because those big goals can be achieved if you realize that you're also very privileged right now. I don't care where you come from, what you have around yourself right now. You have some sort of privilege. Maybe clothes that you're wearing, maybe running water, maybe a roof over your head, a loving family. Those are things to be grateful for, and resources that can help you get to wherever you want to go. And I want you to notice that. And I want you to notice that the traits that you have when you're journaling about one thing you're grateful for yourself is why people like you so much and why you add value to lives. Because it's true. And most people don't take a second to really think through about what their value and their worth is, but it's there. Even if you don't feel like it's there. And I want you to see that, because then the next time a person tells you you're too much, a mental list of all your positive and wonderful traits is going to come to your mind. And it's like, but I like my too much. Like, I might be too much, but I love it. I love who I am. So I don't care. Lastly, and we're going to have a whole episode about this in the future, is I want you to have boundaries and stick to them. People telling you you're too much and not caring doesn't mean to go somewhere and allow people to really be mean to you because they think you're too much. I want you to protect your peace, to know and own your uniqueness and your authenticity, but at the same time, give yourself the love that you need. Don't allow people to walk all over you because you know how special you are. Okay? That was the end of the episode. I really, really hope that you know that the next time someone calls you too much, it's not an insult. It's proof that you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, outside the box they built for you. The right people will never ever think that you're too much. They will think you're just perfect. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to my sisterly advice. I really appreciate you showing up for yourself and taking this big, big step. Use the things that you have learned in this episode and apply them to your life because you deserve it. It's an investment of time on yourself. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.